Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to talk about Pinduoduo and Alibaba, basically the story of an underdog that beat one of the e-commerce giants in just simply 5 years. When I mention about either Pinduoduo or Alibaba, you might think about, oh, it's just about like selling cheap stuff, right? Well, if you go to any business consultant, they will tell you that the cheap strategy is a very dangerous strategy. When you price yourself so cheap, it will send you directly to a vicious cycle. First it happens is that you have reduced resources for your customer service and all kind of stuff that needs money. And then you become over-reliant on your volume purchases because you need a lower price. And then you have a sustainability problem. And then you have a brand degradation problem that people associate your brand with low quality. You cannot get rid of that impression easily, right? And then you have this profit margin squeeze. You see that by placing your stuff cheap, you really don't have too much advantages. To prove that what I have said, I challenge you to name one simple Western company that their pricing strategy is just to be cheap. Well, you may say, okay, McDonald's, right? They sell cheap junk food. But again, right, when you think of McDonald's, you firstly think of hamburger, and hamburger happen to be cheap. But if you think of Alibaba or Pinduoduo, you first think of something is cheap. You cannot associate their brand with a specific product because every product on that platform is cheap. So in this video, it is not an investment suggestion with you that I tell you, okay, buy this, buy that, buy this stock, sell that stock. This is not any of that video. In this video, we're going to look at the cheap strategy of these two businesses so that you can be inspired, that you can make similar clever business decision in your own company. Okay, how does it all start? Before we even talk about Pinduoduo or Alibaba, we firstly need to stay away from the history, like go back to the history 20 years ago and look at one company at that time. It's called eBay.com, right? So even before Alibaba, eBay is already in the Chinese market. And one of the first challenges placed in front of Alibaba is how to beat this giant. Well, I want to mention this one person that helped Alibaba come up with the right strategy to beat eBay. And his name is Sun Pengyu. So his employee number is 003. Well, if I remind you that 001 is Jackie Ma and 002 is Jackie Ma's wife. So he's basically the third most important person in that company. And he helped Alibaba beat eBay. At that time, eBay is literally the first e-commerce platform exists at all in the Chinese market. It is big. It has a lot of capital and it has a lot of overseas investors. But how did Alibaba, with the help of Sun, complete this impossible journey? So the strategy of Sun is in the following areas. So first, he looked at the eBay's business model. So the eBay's business model is that it charges a certain amount of fee, like the entrance fee or the service fee, when you open a store or when you purchase something. So this is their business model. And Sun looked at the Chinese market. He thinks that the market is really big because the population is really big. Well, even eBay, currently almost 10% of the people who actually surfing on the internet, there is just so much opportunity. There are distressed 90% of the people. And Sun's strategy is actually very clever. While eBay charge money, then I don't charge money, right? So he come up with this slogan of there is no fee for the next 3 years. There is no entrance fees, there is no service fee, there is no promotion fees whatsoever. So in this way that he encouraged small business owner to join the platform so that the user can find all kinds of products on that platform. So the focus on that strategy is really let Alibaba grow. And the second smart strategy is that he realized that when you purchase something online, you always face this trust issue. Imagine you are talking to somebody, you never know him personally. You are looking at some images of a product that you never touched, right? Then trust is a very important issue. And Sun overcome the trust issue by the following actions. So firstly, Sun has created the Alipay. What is Alipay? It's the online payment platform. So the good thing is that the seller will only get the money once the buyer confirms that he received the product and the product is as expected. Well, this keeps a lot of scammers off the platform. And second is that so he created this online chatting tools so that when browsing of all the listing of the product, you can immediately talk to the seller. Well, he also talk to the small business owner in person to clear out of their doubts. Then a small thing also happened is that they invest a certain amount of money into redesign the front end, redesign the UI so that it feels more natural for the Chinese user. And the example and the comparison is on the screen right now. Let's talk about eBay's reaction. eBay will not just sit there and let all of the things happen. So the eBay strategy at that time is very simple, to be honest, that he go to the major news website and buy all this displayed ads. So when I said they buy all the displayed ads, is that they have make an agreement that this website cannot do advertisement for Alibaba. Well, like the smart thing about Sun is that Sun said, okay, you go to the big news website, then okay, I go to smaller websites because at that time there are much more users on the internet than the content. So this approach actually works. And then eBay also stopped the fee from 2006 and and connect to PayPal as a third-party payment platform. However, at that time, it's just too late, right? eBay also faced the competition from Amazon. So as of last year, eBay has officially stopped the Chinese market. Well, Sun, at the same time, you may think, okay, Sun makes so much big contribution for Alibaba. He must be well off. So the story doesn't end well for Sun. Is that Sun was kicked out of the central management board. So the HR told him to go overseas to study, which is a polite way of saying you are being fired, right? And the interesting part is that at that time, the head of the HR department is Sun's own wife. So Sun was never informed of this decision until he knows that decision from the newspaper. What happens later is that Sun is one of the 4 investors of the Pinduoduo group. But how did Pinduoduo got the success when Alibaba is already that successful? Well, at this time, we need to mention the previous CFO and the previous CEO, Zhang Yong. Know that Alibaba has been the strength for certain years, and then they look at the market, they look at the average income, they look at the GDP growth, and they look at the social structure. They see that the middle class ratio is getting bigger, and they conclude that people will become richer in China in the future, which we all know that right now is not this trend, but yeah, at that time it seems to be that trend. And what happens when you have a larger middle class is that they are not that much into the price. They care about the quality, they care about the brand image, right? So Zhang Yong, his strategy can be summarized as this. He wants to transform Alibaba from selling something cheap to a platform where bigger brands live. So Zhang Yong has implemented the following strategies to ensure that happens. So first, they have come up with some very strict entrance criteria. I will name some for you. So you need to have 5 million registered capital to work with Alibaba in certain catalog. And the service fee percentage also increased, meaning that if you don't have a large AOV, average order value, you are not going to profit. And even worse is that they have redesigned the algorithm for how to distribute the traffic. Basically, a lot of traffic go to bigger brands. So that means if you search for a certain product, and the product from bigger brands will appear to you more. So all of the strategies is implemented in this new platform called Tamo.com. So the Zhang Yong strategy is that they serve big customer, big brands, right? And they charge a higher service fee because overall that the economy seems to be good at that time. People's buying habit is going to change anyways. It just seems to be the right direction to go. But let me remind you that Alibaba starts from selling something that is cheap. So by doing so, they basically give up on the small business. As a consequence, 95% of the small business owner on Alibaba, according to a survey in 2020, is that they are not actually profiting. So only 5%, this 5% of big brands and stuff, they're able to profit during this ecosystem. And something that is also wrong is that Alibaba places a lot of attention on the entertaining aspect in this app. He basically wants to create a social media inside a shopping app. So the logic is that people will become stickier to the app and they are more likely to buy the product they see in the app. The fundamental logic of that is wrong because how did Alibaba wins over eBay is that they offer cheaper service price, right? They offer cheaper products. The customers are not loyal to the platform. They are loyal to the price. And whoever can offer the cheapest price get this customer. Not only are they losing their customers, They're also losing the small business because the small business look at this entrance criteria and feel that they are being given up. That's why at that time, Pinduoduo is founded. One of the four initial investors is Zhang Pengyu that we mentioned before. And what Pinduoduo did is nothing but copying what exactly Alibaba did 10 years ago. Make it cheaper, make it easier for the small business owner to use. So why is Pinduoduo able to offer a cheaper price than Alibaba? Well, the Pinduoduo's business model is simpler. At the same time, the Alibaba model is complex. They have parallel running services. This leads to the consequences that given the same product, the Pinduoduo's price is just cheaper than that of Alibaba. And then you see all of the trends, right? There comes the COVID, there comes this economic crisis, there comes this losing jobs trend in China, and people downgrade their lifestyle. So another strategy mistake probably made by Alibaba is that they do not plan the overseas market earlier enough. So as of right now, the AliExpress, which is the overseas platform for e-commerce, is only 5% of the total revenue of the Alibaba group. At the same time, the overseas versions of Pinduoduo, which is called Tamu, is basically slaying every app store and slaying in every country. But due to this big mistake made by Zhang Yong, by the way, Zhang Yong stepped down as a CEO sometime this year. So you indeed has to take responsibilities for the bad strategy, so for the bad business decision you make. So what can we learn from Alibaba and Pinduoduo, right? So a clever business strategy is very hard to make. Oftentimes data is showing you the controversial side of things. For example, the GDP growth rate and this average income growth rate. And it's just hard. I'm not going to lie. It's just hard to predict the future. And in some business strategy succeed out of luck, right? So if you look at Pinduoduo, if there were not the trade war, if there were not the coronavirus, maybe today we're not even talking about Pinduoduo. So it's just you have to combine your deeper understanding of the e-commerce market with some luck. I hope this example I gave you right now do trigger some thoughts from your side. Maybe you can have a deeper look at your own business model. And I hope it helped you. At least it should be an interesting story for you to listen right now. So once again, my name is Xiaolu. I'm a data scientist and I help business owners to make data-driven business decisions. So how do you like the story between Pinduoduo and Tamu? Do you foresee this happened some time ago? And if you do foresee, I want to hear your comments and please like and subscribe to show your support. We'll see each other next time. Bye-bye.